Good evening, my name is Father Rayappa and I'm from India, the Diocese of Vellore. So I'm going to today talk about Alfred Rusell Wallace, a British naturalist in 19th century, and he was born in 1823 and he died in 1913. And actually he proposed first the natural selection. Charles Darwin came later. Actually, Russell Wallace was the first man to propose the theory of natural selection. And actually, Russell Wallace was a collector of artifacts or specimens, exotic birds, exotic animals, exotic plants, and he was selling them to the collectors in England. Many rich people in England, they were collecting specimens, exotic specimens from the faraway land, and actually Russell Wallace was supplying them. In fact, in 1870 or 1876, he goes to Papua New Guinea. Actually, in his book Malay, Archipelago, he writes beautifully about the experiences he had in Papua New Guinea, especially on the birds of paradise. Birds of paradise, so beautiful. There are almost 39 species of the birds of paradise, and I think one of the first explorers ever to witness the beauty of birds of paradise was Alfred Rusell Wallace. And in fact, during his time, the religion, Christianity, was teaching that man is the center of everything. God created man as the image of God, and everything is created for humans and for human pleasure. And so the man was center. The rest of the creation is dancing in front of him, dancing at the back of him, dancing on the top of him, dancing at the foot of him. So that was the teaching from the church. And Russell Wallace is going to disprove that. And he goes to the deep jungles in Papua New Guinea, and there he witnesses the birds of paradise. First time. Beautiful, with rich plumage, colorful plumage, and there are so many varieties of them, extravagantly decorated. And such a birds existed nowhere on the planet. Nobody has witnessed it. No zoo was having this kind of birds. And people thought these birds, they belong to paradise. Actually, these birds live in clouds. They drink the nectar or the water directly from the clouds. And they didn't have feet. They have only plumage. So that is the kind of image when they talk about birds of the paradise in the 19th century. And actually, Wallace witnesses firsthand, and he writes about them. And he explains that these birds are living in an inhospitable location and nobody sees them. They are in a gloomy forest. There is no human eye can go there and witness. And he is raising a beautiful question. If God created them, everything is created for humans, why didn't he create these birds probably closer to the village or closer to the neighborhood of man? That's a very reasonable question. But in an inhospitable location, and you have to probably travel months to reach these places, and then that is the question Russell Wallace is raising. So he is writing in the book Malay Archipelago Uh, that's a beautiful writing. I'm going to read it for you and you can listen for yourself. Russell Wallace writes as follows: I thought of the long ages of the past, during which the successive generations of this little creature had run their course, year by year of being born and living and dying amid these dark and gloomy woods, with no intelligent eye to gaze upon their loveliness, to all appearance such a wanton waste of beauty. Such ideas excite a feeling of melancholy. It seems sad that on the one hand, such exquisite creatures should live out their lives and exhibit their charms only in these wild, inhospitable regions, doomed for ages yet to come to hopeless barbarism. While on the other hand, should civilized man ever reach these distant lands and bring moral, intellectual, and physical light into the recesses of this virgin forest, we may be sure that he will so disturb the nicely balanced relationship of organic and inorganic nature as to cause the disappearance and finally the extinction of these very beings whose wonderful structure and beauty he alone is fitted to appreciate and enjoy. This consideration must surely tell us that all living things were not made for man. Many of them have no relation to him. The cycle of their existence has gone on independently of his and is disturbed or broken by every advance in man's intellectual development. And their happiness and enjoyment, their loves and hates, their struggles for existence, their vigorous life and early death would seem to be immediately related to their own well-being and perpetuation alone, limited only by the equal well-being and perpetuation of the numberless other organisms with which each is more or less intimately connected. Nothing is made for man. Everything God created for their own good and beauty. Thank you and God bless.